Word is your boy Just Raised, and today we finally have the premiere of Agatha All Along and The Penguin. But today we're gonna be reviewing the first two episodes of Agatha All Along. Now, this review might be a little different, but we just gonna fly through it. It was two episodes. They were cool. They were pretty decent. Not really the biggest fan of Agatha as a character. Like, she's cool, don't get me wrong. I just never really cared for her character in the comics. So when she was in WandaVision, I was like, oh, dope, she's in WandaVision. And she was cool. They did her character well. Shout out to, I believe her name's Kathryn Hahn, who plays her. She does a really good job. But yeah, I still just never really cared for her character as a character, just in Marvel Comics. And so when I remember when they announced the show, I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna be into it. I even said that in some of my reactions to the trailers and stuff like that. I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I was like, if I do, it'll probably just be for the young man that may or may not be Wiccan. And for those who don't know, Wiccan is one of Wanda Maximoff's children. So yeah, I was just like, I don't know. I'm interested to see how they might bring Scarlet Witch back and see what they're gonna do with her child. Or her child, if that's her child. But the episode starts pretty much right where it picks up right where Agatha's left off, just kind of still stuck in the spell, still kind of stuck in Westview. Since at the end of WandaVision, Wanda pretty much cursed her to pretty much be stuck in that reality and be constantly living her days as a normal citizen in Westview. And so she's still kind of doing that. She's currently working as like a police detective, and she's investigating. She gets called in to investigate a murder. The murder happens, and this joint the murder happens, and she goes to investigate, and it looks like it may be Wanda's body. It looks like it. They don't show the person's face. They don't show anything about the person except for their fingertips are black, just like Wanda's was after she dealt with the Darkhold, and just like Agatha's was after she dealt with the Darkhold. So the way they're framing it is like that was Wanda's body. And so she, of course, does her detective thing, and just it's kind of very eerie about the whole situation, about everything going down. So the first episode is pretty much just her kind of coming to grips with reality and just eventually breaking out of the actual spell and coming to the realization that she is Agatha Harkness and she's not who she thinks she is at the start of the episode. So it's just really her getting her memories back, understanding what has happened. She's we're introduced to two new characters in this episode outside of the townspeople, which the townspeople were actually kind of funny. And it was funny because they kind of set the whole episode up as like a true crime episode, which I thought was funny. But yeah, it was just funny to see them interact with one another and interact with Agatha, and them kind of look at her like she's crazy, but then she looking at them like they crazy. So it was dope to see their interactions. And the two new characters, it looks like we get introduced to the witch, I forgot her name, and then of course Wiccan, who they have him listed as Teen in the credits. They haven't listed his name, but every time he goes to share more about who he is, Agatha can never hear what it is that he's saying. He tries to tell her his name. She sees a spell over his mouth. He later in I want to say episode 2, he tries to tell her where he's from, and as he's talking, Agatha can't hear a word that he's saying, but she turns up the radio. She can hear the radio. She can hear the volume. She can hear everything else going on around her, but she can't hear what he's saying as he's trying to tell her what it is, where it is that he's from. So the first episode kind of ends with her coming to the realization of who she is and coming to the realization of her being Agatha Harkness. And the witch that we're actually introduced to in the first episode, apparently her and Agatha got some beef, because she even asked Agatha, do you remember why you hate me? She was just like, Agatha was like, no. And so it was interesting to just see how just how they progressed over the episode and how they progressed through each and every individual trial and every individual situation. So that was pretty dope to see. Episode 2 is funny because it kind of picks up where in episode 1, Agatha was informed that Salem 7 were going to be coming after her to pretty much take her down. And and because of that, she pretty much, Agatha realizes that she needs to go down Witch's Road or whatever to not only get her power back, but apparently when you go down the Witch's Road, you, at the end of it, you get whatever your heart desires. You know what I mean? So, but in order for her to access the Witch's Road, because she has no power, she has to gather up other witches to form an actual coven to be able to open the door to the Witch's Road. So episode 2 pretty much starts off there, where she's trying to gather different outcasted witches to form a coven to be able to get down the Witch's Road. And so she ends up meeting a bunch of different misfit outcasted witches and ends up being able to get them to go along with her to go down the Witch's Road. And as they're preparing to do their ceremony to get down the Witch's Road, or to open the door for the Witch's Road, and the Salem 7 appear in Westview and start to pretty much make their way towards Agatha's house and begin to terrorize her. So Wiccan, he's supposed to be the lookout. Well, the teen is supposed to be the lookout, and of course he gets scared, so he runs down there. They end up eventually, at first it didn't work. Well, at first Agatha thought it didn't work. Then eventually they realize that, oh, the door did open, so they go through the door, go through the witch. They end up in the Witch's Road by the end of the episode, and that's pretty much where the episode ends for episode 2. So the first 2 episodes, they were pretty cool, pretty smooth. Like I said, it was cool. I feel like this particular series was paced a little bit better than other MCU films. I mean, not MCU films, but MCU series. With other MCU series, you have it's usually the first 2 episodes are really, really slow, and we don't really start picking up into what's actually going on until episode 3 or even episode 4. And it was interesting. I didn't think they would even get to the Witch's Road until like episode 3 or 4, just based on normal MCU series pacing. So you could tell that they really tried to deal with that particular issue when they started rebranding everything with Marvel Television and started reworking how they went about telling their stories via series and stuff like that. So it was interesting. First episode starts off very mysterious, kind of puts you in the midst of everything, giving you backstories where they're necessary and not kind of like overdoing it and trying to stretch it out. But I felt like they did good as far as like giving you enough to know, for those who didn't watch WandaVision, who may not have seen Multiverse of Madness. I mean, you got enough information to know, okay, this is what happened, this is what transpired, this is where we're going. So episode 2, like I said, they ended up in the Witch's Road by the end of the episode, so that was interesting. So episode 3 and on, they'll probably be going down the road to see what happens. And so with this particular pacing and with this particular series and everything, for my ranking for episode 1 and episode 2, episode 1, I'll probably give it like a 7. It was cool. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not really the biggest fan of like witch stuff and witchcrafty stuff. Like that's not my bag. I don't really like stuff like that. But as far as with this, like I said, Agatha's not really a character I care about, but I am interested to see what they do with Wiccan and how they're going to bring back Scarlet Witch, because apparently Agatha all along is supposed to be like, this whole story is supposed to be like a 3-part story in 3 different series. It started in WandaVision, it's supposed to continue in Agatha all along, and then it's supposed to finish in White Vision. So as far as with that, we'll see how the story develops. Like I said, the first 2 episodes pretty solid. My ranking, my rating for episode 1, I gave it a 7. Episode 2, I gave it like a 7.5. I give it like a 7.5 because it wasn't, I thought it would be slower, just knowing how Marvel does stuff. as far as with their series, but it actually wasn't as like, it started out slow, but when it picked up, it picked up. So I wasn't necessarily mad about it. Not as far as the banter between everybody, wasn't that bad. Didn't really get any super woke vibes or anything like that. It was just kind of Agatha trying to figure out everything. So I wasn't too mad about how they did that. But yeah, definitely wouldn't recommend this particular series for like kids or nothing like that. As far as watching that, if you're an adult and you want to watch it, hey, more power to you. If you want your kids to watch it with you, I would say watch it first. And if you feel comfortable enough in your spirit to watch it, then that's on you. But like I said, that's my rating for the first 2 episodes. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share the video. And let me know in the comments below how y'all felt about the first 2 episodes. Do you agree with the assessment as far as how everything's progressing? Do you agree with the pacing? Does it feel like they changed how they do things to you? Or are you enjoying the series? Is it on your watch list? Are you watching it currently? Or are you not watching it currently? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime we drop a new video on the channel. And never forget, it's free show to the show free. Let's get it.